Coming up on Wavelength, LCRA's rate case hearing begins August 3rd. Our environmental lab gets some major exposure, and schools monitor water quality on the Colorado. Those stories and more next on Wavelength.
From the Lower Colorado River Authority, this is Wavelength.
Everybody, and welcome to Wavelength. As LCRA prepares for our raid case that begins August 3rd, our employees and customers have been fairly shocked recently by a newspaper article that raised questions about LCRA's financial health. The article reported criticism that LCRA's investments in Cummings Creek, natural gas exploration program, and several lawsuit settlements we've made were bad decisions which have left us in shaky financial health. Have they?
No, and I think our A credit rating that we have from both Coors and Moody's reflects that they look at a number of factors in evaluating the financial health of LCRA. Our rates right now are sufficient to pay all of our operating costs, pay salaries, as well as fund a good portion of our construction program.
How will the accusation of imprudent investment and that sort of thing, in your view, affect our case?
I think we'll have to go in and about each of the individual decisions led to that $450 million total. Decisions like the cancellation of the Cummings Creek project, which is just about half of that total, the decisions to get out of the Decker coal contract, those types of decisions will have to be looked at individually, and I think we can show the prudence of each of those when they were made.
Do you have any indication of how the PUC will react, for instance, to the Cummings Creek cancellation and the debt that has to be written off, or to the gas program?
We've got an initial indication on the Cummings Creek project, and that's that the staff witnesses for the that have looked into that have found that both it was prudent for LCRA to get into the Cummings Creek mine project when we did, and it was also prudent to cancel that project. The gas program, we're still waiting on some more testimony from the PUC, so we'll have to see how that one goes.
Are you comfortable we can make a strong case for the gas program?
I think, however, there are a number of our customers as well as other interveners that are challenging the gas program as maybe being too risky for an entity like LCRA to be in.
What do you think?
We feel like when we looked at what's happened to gas prices in the past and where we are right now, risk if we don't do anything and just stay in the spot market and are subject to the whims of whatever that market is going to produce over time, that it's a better investment for our customers for us to go out and to try to acquire reserves closer to today's costs and hold them on into the future and produce them over the next 10 years and provide some sort of stability in those gas prices.
We've had a certain amount of bad publicity. We've had some headlines. The PUC staff will recommend, I think, a decrease in our rates rather than an increase. What do you feel the chances are of us going to the PUC and putting on a case and getting an increase?
I think we're going to be able to justify an increase. I think that there will still be some additional articles in the paper or some items in the news that employees can expect to see. But I think we're going to be able to prove up the need for a rate increase, primarily driven by the debt service that we need to collect on Cummings Creek. But it's not going to be an easy job, and it's going to be a lengthy process that's going to stretch out till October or November.
Freeman says negotiations with a small group of customers who are contesting our rate hike will continue, but with the hearing now less than 2 weeks away, it would be hard, he says, to reach an agreement before the hearing began.
The proposed drought management plan for the lower Colorado River, unveiled by LCRA staff at the June board meeting, has met with no significant opposition or major complaints. Understand, it would take a very severe drought to fully activate the plan, the kind of drought you only see once every 50 to 100 years. In fact, if the proposed drought management plan had been in effect over the past 25 years, in only 1 year would there have been any actual water curtailment at all. Still, during an extremely serious drought, the lakes would be very low, and rice growers would have to reduce the amount of rice they grow. So making the plan fair for everybody is a challenge.
I think in general, the plan addresses the needs of the downstream users fairly well. I think there's some details that need to be worked out and understood a little bit more, but in general, I think it's a good plan, and I think it's something that we can all live with.
The proposed plan would ask municipal water users like the City of Austin to voluntarily institute water use restrictions on such things as lawn watering during the early stages of a drought.
LCRA's new compensation plan gets underway this month. Under the new focal point review system, employees will evaluate their supervisors in August, and then all remaining employees will be evaluated in September and October. Any merit increases will go into effect in January.
The major advantage is that in terms of looking at LCRA's productivity, it gives the supervisor a one-time look at all of the employees in their section so that they can do a competitive review of performance. And for the company, it gives us a chance to look at performance all over the company in order to determine whether we're meeting the level of productivity that we'd like to meet.
Since many employees will have questions about the new plan, orientation sessions are being conducted throughout the agency.
This became a very familiar image to most Texans recently, the crippled supertanker Megaborg spilling crude oil into the Gulf of Mexico. This disaster area also became the test site for a revolutionary process called bioremediation, where trillions of microscopic bacteria actually eat the oil slick.
Normally it takes a considerable amount of time, and it will occur in nature naturally, but it's speeded up by the dense concentration of the bacteria that we see here. I mean, you know, this is packed with bacteria, real concentrated, and also by the catalyst that speeds up the bacteria's and actually serves as nutrients for them to feed on in addition to the oils. In scientific terms, it gets pretty complicated. It's called carboxylation, and what it is the oil-eating bacteria, or microbes as they're called, break down the petroleum hydrocarbons into fatty acids, which are water-soluble, and actually serve food for aquatic organisms like shrimp and fish. They actually eat them.
LCRA became involved in the test after the Texas General Land Office asked our lab to analyze samples taken from the Megaborg spill. Laboratory-grown bacteria produced by Alpha Environmental of Austin was mixed with seawater and applied to a section of the slick.
Has Freon been put in these? These are all...
According to Buck Henderson, the lab work is still going on, but initial results are very encouraging. He says the lab got calls for information about the test from all over the country, including the Environmental Protection Agency, the Washington Post, and National Geographic.
It'll soon be easier to recycle your paper and cans around LCRA. Recycling coordinator Don Mowat says desktop containers for paper products have just arrived, and that should take some of the hassle out of recycling.
It's estimated that each employee at LCRA generates approximately 1.2 pounds of paper or waste per day. And with approximately 1,900 employees, this translates into about 2,280 pounds of waste a day. And by recycling, that's 2,200 pounds of paper that's going to wind up in our landfills.
Recycling volunteers will be distributing the new containers in the coming weeks, and Mowat says receptacles for aluminum cans are on the way.
This is a very special summer for the Austin Sunshine Camp, which is celebrating its new location on Lake Travis. The Young Men's Business League recently dedicated this new pavilion in honor of LCRA, which donated the land for the camp.
Basically, the LCRA, the Lower Colorado River Authority, without a doubt, we could not have done even a tenth of what has been accomplished here.
The Sunshine Camp offers a wide range of programs for economically disadvantaged kids. It includes a challenge course which teaches them to work as a team, and it also instills confidence, as 15-year-old Charles Williams found out in this exercise.
What do you learn by pushing yourself to the limit like that?
That I can overcome the things that scare me in life, and to go ahead and try to see how it works out.
This summer, 150 youngsters will benefit from the camp's programs.
The unexpected rains we've had gave us the wettest July for the Highland Lakes area since 1976, and the second wettest in 25 years. Runoff into the lakes for the month was about 120,000 acre-feet. The average runoff for July is about 20,000 acre-feet. So this July was 6 times wetter than average. The rains brought Buchanan up about a foot, and Lake Travis came up about 4 feet.
Neil, you have an idea of why you'd want to do a flow measurement?
These teachers are spending part of their summer vacation back in the classroom, only this time they're students. Learning to take water samples and become members of a newly formed organization called the Colorado River Watch Network. The network will use volunteer teachers and students from school districts along the river to help analyze water quality. It is jointly sponsored by the LCRA and the Clear Clean Colorado Association.
Well, this will not be textbook teaching. This is in the field teaching. So it's very innovative, and it gets the students out of the classroom so that they can experience a hands-on activity that has a very important purpose.
Intensity would be right here if you look at them.
The teachers recently spent 3 days learning about the sampling methods and how to use the equipment. Then it was off to Cedar Creek, where the aspiring water samplers got a chance to get their feet wet, literally. LCRA will provide each of the schools with monitoring kits. 14 different parameters will be measured each time, and in addition, students and teachers will note what kind of fish and other organisms are in the water.
There's something too.
That's an planarian.
All right.
Veteran teacher Terry Rambo says she's excited about the program. She says it allows her to involve the students in a way that's never been done before.
It is going to integrate all the disciplines. We're going to combine the math and the science. We're going to involve the English people in the write-up of the program. We're going to get the social studies people involved in the political aspect, and all of it's going to then benefit the city through helping the water pollution.
The new program will help scientists as well. They say having an extra 20 pairs of eyes and ears on the river looking for sources of pollution will make their job a lot easier.
And we're hoping to be able to add a little bit of information to our monitoring program by having more eyes and more hands in the field doing tests for us.
When the network gets in full swing, organizers say it will be the largest citizen monitoring program in the country. But they say you can never have too many people working to clean up the Colorado.
That's really the key, is that we are all a part of the problem, and this encourages us all to be part of the solution.
Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. Thanks for being with us. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.